now I want to give you the very latest on the Adelsons, as jail call records show that Charlie called his mother 86 times during the week leading up to her arrest. Now, as you know, friends, he was found guilty of his former brother-in-law Dan Markel's murder earlier this month. He was the first Adelson to be charged in Dan Markel's death. And now his mother, Donna, is charged in the murder as well. She was arrested 2 weeks ago, right as she was boarding a plane with a one-way ticket to Vietnam. And now we know that Charlie and Donna spent 35 hours on the phone the week of her arrest. And one of those calls was cited in the affidavit for her arrest, saying, quote, Donna Sue Adelson is telling Charles Adelson that she's getting things in order, creating trust, and making sure her grandchildren are taken care of. Donna discusses plans for a suicide, but also discusses plans to flee to a non-extradition country. I'm so pleased to welcome in a friend of Court TV and someone who is a personal friend of Dan Markel's, the state attorney in Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Aronberg. Dave, good morning. Wonderful to see you as always. I have something I want to show you, my friend, taking a look at some of the data from these calls. From October 23rd to November 6th, there were 116 calls that Charlie placed to his mama. And from the start of the trial till Donna's arrest, they spent over 39 hours on the phone conversing. The longest call was nearly 2 hours long after he was convicted. The good people in the prosecutor's office, I'm sure, are listening to all of those calls intently. Tell me your thoughts, Dave, when you hear the amount of time these two spent on the phone together.
Good to be with you, Julie. It looks like Georgia Kaplan was right that Charlie was equal parts mama's boy and equal parts black sheep. I mean, he's someone who really relied on his mom, who is not used to being in this environment. So he's calling his mama, who also was allegedly complicit in all this, and the evidence is pointing to her as well. So I'm not surprised to see this. I mean, this is a guy who thought he was above the law, who thought he was smarter than everyone else, who thought he was the maestro. Don't believe me? Look at his license plate on his Ferrari. But now he's locked up for the rest of his life, and so where does he go? He calls his mom.
Calls his mama. You're right, Dave. Yeah, definitely mama's boy, it seems. And I'm wondering if these two might have just served up more evidence for the state of Florida on a silver platter with these calls. I keep thinking about that, the content that just might be there. Dave, would you kind of take us behind the scenes, describe what that process is like, going through the calls, trying to extract the pieces of evidence, putting things together to get ready to share it at trial?
Prosecutors love jail calls. I have my prosecutors for hours listening to jail calls, and it's not drudgery. This is one of the parts of the job they don't mind because it's full of good information. And it's surprising because they tell you many times that your calls are being recorded. There's a sign up there as well, but yet they continue to make incriminating contents. Maybe they just don't believe that government is listening in, or they're like Donna and Charlie. They're not used to this environment, so they're not used to how the system works. And so the stuff on the calls, I think, will be golden. And we don't know exactly the contents of the calls because the prosecutors don't have to give that up yet until they give it to the defense during discovery, and eventually they will. And that's when we will find out the contents, because as bad as it is to see all the minutes that Charlie and Donna spent on the phone together, that looks pretty bad. But what's really bad is, I think, will be the contents of the call, and that's something the government has and we don't have yet.
I think you are spot on, as always, my friend Dave Aronberg. So glad we have you this morning.